Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to the Standards meeting. I'd like to remind everyone that the meeting is being live streamed on YouTube. A recording of the meeting will be available afterwards on the Council's YouTube channel. In addition, under the local authorities' executive arrangements, meetings and access to information England Regulations 2012, other people may film, record, tweet or blog from this meeting. The use of any such images or sound recordings is not under the Council's control. May I remind councillors to please switch off your microphones when you are not speaking. Thank you. And the officers here this evening, to my right, Emma Richardson, to my left, Gemma Dennis, monitoring officer. So let's, without any further ado, let's crack on with apologies for absence.
We have apologies from Councillor Beardsall, Councillor Mason and Councillor Sue Mallender. And substituting today we have Councillor Butler and Councillor Richard Mallender.
Thank you. And are there any declarations of interest? No. So next item is the minutes of the previous meeting on 21st of February. There was one matter to note here, where insofar as Chris Richards, one of our independent people, was in attendance but not recorded in the minutes from the last meeting, so we'll amend that. Does anybody have anything further in relation to those?
Just for accuracy's sake, it's me again. On page 3, where it says Mr. Richards, independent member, I'm not that important, I'm a mere person.
Okay, so I'll propose to sign, with that amendment being made, propose to sign them as an accurate record of that meeting. I didn't admit that. This is amazing. Just before we move on to the two substantive items on the agenda, would just like to say and ask to be recorded in the minutes a couple of words about John Bagley, who served as the previous independent person for a number of years, and has now no longer in that role, but I understand has stepped into another challenging role, assisting the functionality of the council, which is pleasing to hear. But in John's role as the independent person, it was his commitment to high standards in public life here was evident very quickly, and I can say on a personal level, when becoming chairman of the committee, John gave some valuable personal guidance and history of what had been happening in and around standards in the borough. And recently, it's been a fairly challenging period for the committee, and things that were going on outside of that. I'm sure that John's steadfastness through that was helpful to a number of people involved. And then in terms of legacy, since then, we've obviously done a lot of the work around the new code of conduct, something that I know that John was very keen for us to do, and happy that that process was concluded. So thank you to John on behalf of the committee, because some excellent service to Rushcliffe as a council and its residents. So we'll move on. Item 4 is the cases and work update.
Thank you, Chair. So this report provides the Standards Committee with information relating to complaints received since the last Standards Committee on the 21st of Feb 2022. It also outlines areas in which training or education have been identified which could assist councillors' understanding of the standards regime's requirements and the actions proposed to meet those training needs. So at paragraph 4.2, you will see that since the date of the last meeting, 4 complaints have been submitted to me for consideration, and the table at Appendix A confirms the date of the complaint, whether it relates to a borough, parish or town councillor, if the complaint was made by a member of the public or by another councillor, the nature of the complaint and the action taken to address the complaint where appropriate. Each of the complaints received since the last meeting have been discussed with the independent persons as required. By way of an update, since the report was published, I have been able to close off the complaint received in relation to a member of Home Pierpont and Gamston Parish Council, as that has been resolved informally. 2 of the complaints, as you will see, have not been accepted under the code, and I am currently fact-finding in relation to the other complaints, so I will update members further at our next meeting as to the outcome of this. I also wanted to share with members an update on the work being done by Bingham Town Council following acceptance by the Town Council and Rushcliffe of the recommendations of the Improvement Board earlier in the year. This will be presented as a report to Cabinet on the 13th of December, as they have also asked for an update on this to be provided periodically. So you should each have a copy of the action proposed by the plan and an update on those actions for your information. As you will be aware, standards of conduct training has been arranged for the 21st of November, which is next Monday evening for all councillors, with the intention that that will then be rolled out to parish and town councillors afterwards. So the training will outline the new code of conduct as adopted by the council in June this year and the expected standards of behaviour. It will explain the requirements for registration and declaration of interests. It will hopefully ensure that all members are confident about how the code applies to them and what conduct and standards matter in local government. And members will be asked as part of the training to consider a number of mini scenarios to help to demonstrate the application of the code in day-to-day situations. I think we were at 18 attendees at last count, but a reminder has gone out to date, so there may be more who join onto that. So that should all be really good, hopefully. And that's all from me on this report. So the recommendation is that the committee receive and note the report. I'm obviously happy to take any questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Gemma. Are there any such questions? Yes, Gary.
Obviously, we're not going to have a chance to read this now. How would you like to receive comments if we have any?
You can drop me an email and let me know if you've got any comments, if that's okay, or any questions or anything. So thanks.
I take it we're all happy to concur the recommendation of the report that we receive and note it as is customary for this particular section. Okay, thank you. So item 5 is the review of the customer complaint form.
Thank you, Chair. Adopted along with other revisions to the Constitution in June this year, it follows that this committee should go on to review the councillor complaint form and guidance and the process for lodging a complaint to make sure it accords with the revisions made to the updated code of conduct and is fit for purposes in all other senses. So several updates to the existing form, guidance and process for submitting a complaint are proposed, and the committee's views are sought on the proposed changes. I don't propose to go through each change proposed, but would welcome any thoughts that members have on each section. So you'll note that we start with a section on the complaint form. So any comments on the suggestions to the alterations to the complaint form?
There was a question about, should we provide a download and bit? And I think as long as the form has been, read through the accessibility tools. So if you get the internet accessibility tools to read, I think the online only is fine. And I note in other areas of the council's website, it just says if you need a copy in a different format, contact X. So I think as long as we do that, then that will suffice. But sometimes you can get these forms. So I think just that check.
Yeah, and I think one of the options considered was whether it was a web form only, as opposed to available on the website, which is then could be downloaded and filled in, potentially shared if there were other people who were party to or wanted to be aware of the detail that was being put forward. Strikes me that if it's available to download online, that someone can then email in, or look, when it comes to matters like this, I personally see absolutely no harm in letting people fill in and complete and send in the form however they want to, not put any barriers in place. But
Thank you very much. Anything else in relation to the form? Okay, so moving on, there's then some suggestions around the complaint form guidance.
Sorry, just one, I think, on that one. I'm not sure in the general world the word vexatious has particular currency. So I wondered if we could explain that a bit more in plain English.
Yeah, we certainly can. I think on the website, let me go to the page, because it's currently not on the same page as the complaints process, which isn't helpful necessarily, but it is actually called the unreasonable and vexatious complaints policy. And if you read that policy, it makes it quite clear what behaviour we would say falls under that heading, which is probably explanatory enough. But if you feel not, then yeah, we're happy to amend.
Any other comments? I mean, most of them are.
Yeah.
It's just straightforward administrative exercise, really.
And then finally, the process for submitting a complaint. There's probably, I know there's something on there again about access, isn't there, and downloading. So I can take those comments away in terms of accessibility and being able to print that off and apply the same to that.
Okay, are we happy to the two parts of the recommendation? Consider and discuss proposed changes, which we've done, and then are we happy to give officers a clear mandate to move those suggested changes forward? Yes, we all are. Very good. I don't know whether we're about to set any world or council records, but let it not be said that we're not efficient. So that's it. Thank you.